Hello everyone, welcome back to Manga Goblin, and today we're going to finally look at the guilds for Necromunda that are in the various house books. We're going to start off with the House Goliath book, or the House of Chains book, and we're going to look at the Slave Guild. Okay, let's just put the cards on the table for one moment about guilds. Guilds, the way that they work, are very clunky and very rules heavy. In my opinion, this shouldn't happen. When you ally with a guild, the guild should take over the gang, and you basically use gang as a support for the guilds, basically. That's what I would do, and that's what I hope people would be able to house rule with each other. If we look at the Slave Guild for a moment, but let's look at the rules. Law-abiding allies. Obviously, guilders and guilds are on the side of the law, which means you have to be a lawful gang in order to join with them. Strong alliance has Goliath. Basically, you don't need to roll on the table when testing the alliance the first time. You get the disquiet result automatically. Weapon training, you can basically send your champions off to be trained by one of the people. Slaver entourage. Now this is what I want to talk about, the slaver entourage and the way that they work in game. They're so on the rules, right? For example, you have to roll a d6 and add the gang's current reputation. If the total is 10 or below, they aid the gang. If the total is 11 or more, then they decide not to help you. This group of fighters does not cost a gang ally to this. Basically, it doesn't cost any credits to hire, but they must be chosen and must be included in the gang's crew, even if crew selection is normally random. However, if the gang is playing looter, smash and grab, carry on heist, escort, and is the defender, say guard duty as follows, then a slaver entourage must be included. Roll a d6 and add the gang's current reputation. 10 or below, gang is happy. 11 or more, gang is unhappy and is forced to test the alliance. Drawbacks: guard duty, you forced into being a guard duty. Slaves of the Pit, post-battle sequence. During the post-game sequence, any gang that has any captured fighters must be immediately given to the Slaves Guild. If the gang instead choose to keep them or sell them to the guilders for credits as normal, they must test the alliance. Alternatively, instead of allowing the captives gang a rescue mission, the gang may accept a ransom of half the captives' value, rounded up to the nearest 5 credits. If they do, the alliance is automatically broken. Alright. So we got the slaver entourage rules now. We're coming to the stats and the various parts. Chain Lord, movement 4, weapon skill 3+, ballistic skill 6+, strength 4, toughness 4, 2 wounds, initiative 4, attacks 2, leadership 7, call 6, willpower 7, intelligence 9. Alright. He should take over as your gang leader in what I would house rule. I know not everybody's going to have the same, opinions as me about the way that guilds work. They're cool looking and everything. Don't get me wrong. Cool looking. The way that they work though is clunky, is annoying, it just adds a level of complexity to the game, which the game doesn't really need. The game's already got enough with the downtime, with your territory workings, etc, without adding more rules of forcing, constant rolls on the alliances, whichever one you decide to roll, ally with. If I was forced to use the rules as they are, I would not use them ever, and I would just say it's just too much. It limits you on what you can do with your gang. It limits you on how your post-battle sequences. It limits you on missions. Not great. Moving down to the Shackle Man, movement of 4 inches, weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 5, strength 3, toughness 3, 2 wounds, initiative 4, attacks 1, leadership 8, call 7, willpower 7, intelligence 8. And then we've got the Pit Fighters, 5 inches movement, weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 6, strength 3, toughness 3, 1 wound, initiative 4, attacks 2, leadership 8, call 7, willpower 8, intelligence 10. A slaver entourage consists of 1 chain lord, 1 shackleman, and 2 pit fighters. Okay, we'll go to the rules. Promising fighter, wrap up in post-battle sequence, roll a d6. Roll a d6 for 1 randomly determined fighter with the gang fighter X special roll. If the gang and the slaver's entourage fought for that took an enemy fighter out of action with either close combat or coup de grace. On a roll of 1, the Chain Lord is impressed and claims that fighter for a career in the fighting pits. So basically, taking the Slavers Guild, you can lose members of your gang for the fighting pits. You delete them completely from your roster. Another drawback to taking the Slaver Entourage. They aren't that good in the long run. They've got very strange weapons. He's got a chain axe. The pit fighters are armed with chain glaives. They're armed with flak armor and stim slug slashes. The pit fighters are. The Shackleman is armed with a shock stave, harpoon launcher, and flak armor and a cult icon. Chain Lord is armed with a chain glaive or shock whip and chain axe, and is equipped with a light carapace armor, bio booster, and stim slug slash. They basically have the band apart rules, which is basically they take care of their own and it remained separate and aloof from the gang, disappearing after the battle to tend to their own wounds. If a Slaver Entourage fighter goes out of action, there's no need to roll for a lasting injury. They are considered to have rolled 12 to 26 out cold. Here to help, unlike other fighters, a Slaver Entourage is not counted using the crew choosing step of the battle sequence, pre-battle sequence. Instead, at the end of this step, these fighters may be added to the crew regardless of anything else. That's the only decent rule that the guilders have, is the here to help and the band part, which means you don't have to use them for your morale tests and stuff, and the here to help stuff. During a Chain Lord special rules, Slaver Entourage hierarchy, he's the leader. Group activation, he's got 2, basically you can, any fighter with this special rule is activated, the controlling player can choose to activate a number of additional ready, basically he can activate other Slaver models. The Shackleman has the champion one, again he has the champion version of the group activation rule. Pit fighters have bodyguards, they can basically stick next to the Chain Lord. If the Chain Lord and Shackleman are removed from play, the pit fighters will run away basically. Chain Lord has Hurl and Overseer. They can only use Overseer on the other Slaver Entourages. Shackleman has Disarm, and pit fighters have Rain of Blows. For the risks involved, again, really not worth it. Not without basically supplementing. You'd have to basically come up with points costs for them as well, or credit costs for them, because the way that they run at the moment is just so, it's just so bad. It's just awful. Okay, moving on to the House of Blades one, which is the Water Guild. The Nautican Siphoning Delegation, basically the Water Guild. They have all the same rules with testing the alliance, etc. They're strong to House Escher, so I'll just skim over that for that time being. Master Nautican. Water Harvest, add +1 to determine if enemy fighter is captured at the end of the battle. If he's not gone out of action, add an additional 1 for any other member of the delegation that has not gone out of action. If an enemy fighter is captured, they can be sold to the guilders for their full credits before a rescue, basically. The controlling player of the captured fighter may prevent this by agreeing to pay them credits ransom. So basically you sell them to the Water Guild and they harvest water out of them. A band apart, same rules as before. Here to rule help, same rules as before. Master Nautican has movement of 4, weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 4, strength 3, toughness 3, 2 wounds, initiative 4, 1 attack, leadership 7, call 7, willpower 6, intelligence 6, Siphonite 4, movement, weapon skill 5, ballistic skill 4, strength 2, toughness 3, 1 wound, initiative 4, 1 attack, leadership 8, call 8, willpower 6, intelligence 6, that's the Siphonite. Subnautican, big guy, movement 4, weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 5, strength 5, toughness 5, 3 wounds, so 3 wounds there. Initiative 4, 2 attacks, bit slow, but he's got more attacks than the other guys. Leadership 8, call 6, willpower 7, intelligence 7. Again, we've got the hierarchy rules, which are the same. The group activation rules, which are the same. Bodyguard is obviously The Subnauticon has the bodyguard rules. Indentured Fighter. The Subnauticon has the same rules, basically. He'll run off if both the Master Nauticon and the Cypher Knight are removed. The Master Nauticon is armed with a needle pistol, stiletto knife, mesh armor, bio booster, stim sword clash. Cypher Knight is armed with a needle rifle, stiletto knife, mesh armor, tall Tycon. Subnauticon, open fists, and he basically has a hazard suit and an armored undersuit. Master Nauticon has step aside, Overseer. Can only use Overseer on their own. Cypher Knight has dodge. Subnauticon has this Berserker. They are slightly more tolerable than the Slaver Guild, but unfortunately, again, the whole testing the alliance, the whole forcing you into certain missions is just not worth it. The benefits of having them are law-abiding allies, so you've got to be law-abiding again. Strong alliance, same rules as before. Pure water supply. Basically, if you have a slopper, you can get out of recovery on a 5 or 6. So you need another hired gun in order to use him, basically, in that. The same rules for testing the alliance as the Slaver Guild. Guard duty. Same ones as the Slaver Guild again. But you have to pay D3 times 10 credits to the Water Guild. Now it doesn't say if this is every battle or if it's just the ones that the Water Guild fight with you or you're forced to fight with them on. Now if it's every game, it doesn't say, it doesn't clarify on this version. Maybe there's an updated version I don't have. But according to this, it can be read either way. And if you're for example, if you're Overseer, who runs the campaign, if he decides it's every game, and you get, right, you have to pay 90 credits after every battle, possibly. I mean, it won't always be D3 every time, but there's a chance that it could be. I mean, it's high chance, but there's a chance it could be. Again, the guilders are, the way that they work at the moment, are not worth it. They're pretty models, don't get me wrong, especially the Water Guild, but the way that they work is just, it's garbage. It's just garbage. Why would you ever take them? I mean, I can understand if you were running a scenario or something, and you just allowed people to use them occasionally in battles, but the costs for using them, and then they don't even give you that good of stuff. Like, your regular gangers and champions can be so much better than the guilds. It just boggles the mind. Anyway, I know that won't be everyone's thoughts. Those are just mine. We just did the 2 guilds there. We'll be looking at some more ones next time. We're going to be looking at all the other things in the book. I know that some of this series is me criticising a lot about New Necromunda. Don't get me wrong, there is a lot of good about it. But a lot of the additional rules, in my mind and my opinion, again, it's only my opinion, seem to complicate matters to a significant degree that it'll take the fun away to the post-battle sequences, which is basically just a lot of paperwork. And you don't want to add more onto that. You just want to play with your fighters. You just want your fighters to grow. You don't want to have to spend, 20 minutes, half an hour, figuring out if you've lost your guild or alliance. Anyway, that's just my opinion. Thank you everyone for watching. Do take care of yourselves, and bye-bye.